Hello everyone, this is Dominic Amara, and today's video is the second video in the series that I'm doing on spiritual warfare, which is based on Ephesians 6:11-17. Now, today we'll be discussing the next weapon used in spiritual warfare, and that weapon is known as the Breastplate of Righteousness. Weapon number one was the belt of truth, where you learned the truth found in God's Word. Now it's time for us to apply this truth and live up to God's standard. So stay tuned. Now, before we start discussing the breastplate of righteousness, I want to actually read Ephesians 6:11-14, which says, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this darkness, against evil spiritual forces in the heavens. For this reason, take up the full armor of God so that you may be able to resist in the evil day, and having prepared everything, to take your stand. Stand therefore with truth like a belt around your waist, righteousness like armor on your chest." Now, some translations do refer to this as the breastplate of righteousness. So what exactly is that? When it comes to soldiers in a battle, right, they have to wear a breastplate or something. Well, modern day, they have to wear a bulletproof vest, for instance. Something that protects their vital organs. So the breastplate of righteousness protects us in the same way. It protects us spiritually. It is not a result of our own will and strength, but it comes through Jesus's death and resurrection. Let me repeat that. It's not a result of our own will and strength, but it comes through Jesus's death and resurrection. So we have been made right in God's eyes. We are no longer condemned if we believe in Jesus Christ. Since Jesus came and lived that perfect life, we are protected by his righteousness. Now, while Jesus has given us his righteousness, we still need to live up to God's standard and be righteous in our everyday lives. So how do we use this weapon of our warfare? How do we use the breastplate of righteousness? So Satan will continuously try and attack because he is annoying like that, but we are protected by the breastplate of righteousness. Therefore, we have to arm ourselves every day. So how do we practically do this? Number one, we fight temptation. When we feel tempted to sin, we do not have to give in. I mean, you can find some scriptures or something to refer to read and listen to when you are feeling that temptation. The next thing we do, we spend time with God. When we intentionally dwell with God, we spend time through prayer, through reading his word, and through meditating. Now, I recently did a video on how to meditate on God's word, so I'll have that link somewhere up here, and you can just check that out. And the third way is to do what God says to do. When we obey God and we do what he is calling us to do, we are practicing this righteousness and this obedience in our lifestyles. And Matthew 6:33 mentions that we are to seek God and his righteousness above everything else. We must be imitators of Christ as well, and that's mentioned in Ephesians 5:1-2. Now, this is not to say that you will be perfect, because let's be honest, you won't. Let's be real. Even if you try to, try your hardest, it's almost impossible to attain perfection. Jesus has already done that, thank God. So we do not have to beat ourselves up when we are not attaining that perfection, but we are still supposed to pursue righteousness and holiness, even though we are right in God's eyes. So we cannot do this in our own strength, as I mentioned, but thankfully God extends his mercy and his grace to us when we fail. But we are no longer slaves to sin and unrighteousness, which is talked about in Romans 6. I highly recommend you read that. So Jesus has given us a new life if we believe, and only through him can we attain righteous living. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it has been encouraging and inspiring for you, and that you plan to utilize this weapon of spiritual warfare this week as you go about your day. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel. Thank you so much for watching.